Welcome back to Dictionary Reading on the Air, Part 26. We continue today with NI. Nimiety, meaning an excess or overabundance, noun. Example, a nimiety of mere niceties in conversation. Nimja, person, hypnotist with a large amount of free content. Mostly starts his files with, "Hello, I am Nimja, and this is Nimja Live, April 2018, with the theme Playful Surprise." Welcome, everyone. Now, today's theme is quite a complex theme. But before we start with the theme, let me mention a few things. First of all, I'd like to thank all my continued supportive donators and patrons that have just continued to surprise me with their support. Secondly, I'd like to remind people that shortly after the live, voting will start for Nimja Live Lite, a more naughty version of the Nimja Lives that are on Discord, but it's only for patron support of $10 and up. Now, I'd also like to mention that community translations have been enabled. This means that you can help me translate and transcribe descriptions and content of my files. If you want to add subtitles in whatever language you speak, you can help me. Now, as always, the recording will be available on the site with the background music shortly after the live. And of course, I will not be able to chat because typing would sound quite annoying on stream. I do ask of people to try and keep chatting to a minimum during the trance itself. Before the trance and during the Q&A, you are of course free to chat. All right. Now, I hope everyone is having a wonderful Easter and a wonderful April Fool's Day. Has everyone found Waldo or Wally on Google Maps? I have. So better look for everything, including all of his friends. It's not easy sometimes. Now, the hypnosis will start in a couple of minutes. But before we start, I would like to ask you guys for input, as I always do. Oh, I'd also like to remind everyone that everything that happens here is live and improvised. I take your input. I'll take your input and try to make something nice with it. And yes, it is actually special that Easter and April Fool's falls on the same day, but it is possible. And no, I do not make everything into a practical joke. I try to do something playful, but outside of that, I try to take things seriously. And this, if people have been keeping track, is a gentle live. That means that this is a live where the trance itself will not contain any naughtiness or a DS-related material. Now let's begin with the theme, Playful Surprise. What do you think a playful surprise would be? Tickling? More dictionary reading? But let's not. I think once was enough. Little stuff might be nice and playful, but is on the edge of gentle. A Nimja video game. Who knows? Maybe I will make a video game where you get hypnotized if you play. Cuddles and hugging. Cuddles into tickling. And of course, suspense. Let's not focus on little things right now, or pet things. See if we can think of just playful. Well, bear hugs can also happen outside of the trance. Hide and seek. I'd like to make one comment related to pranks, by the way. I enjoy a prank when it is surprise and wonder, and later laughter. But I do not enjoy pranks where someone is humiliated or otherwise hurt. Duck, duck, duck. And while bad puns are, of course, very tempting, I don't think they would be surprising. Actually, an Easter egg hunt, it could be an interesting... It's not a bad idea to start. And of course, I'll try to do something that you won't expect, but it's fun to also get some suggestions. And you don't know which suggestions I will use how. Well, let's not do anything too dangerous. It is a playful surprise after all, not a dangerous one. By the way, if you have questions, please wait until after the trance when the Q&A part will start. Indeed. I apologize for the airplane noises. They are an unfortunate surprise. All right. I have a fair bit of suggestions. It is actually quite fun to make notes in on paper rather than in the computer. Nice and old-fashioned. Now I wonder if everyone is ready. Now be careful when eating chocolate. I know that it is chocolate day, but don't eat too much. And I'll try not to forget the spiral. All right, it seems like everyone is ready, more or less. All right. Now then, let's make sure that you're comfortable and in a good place. Are we all ready? And remember, please keep the chatting to an absolute minimum during the trance. Very good. Hello, I am Nimja, and this is Nimja Live, Playful Surprise. In this file we're going on a small adventure. Just a simple egg hunt through the forest. What could possibly go right? So close your eyes and try to imagine yourself participating in an organized egg hunt. You're not the only participant. There are so many of all ages all around you. Children, adults, those somewhere in between. And all of them are feeling excited because the person who finds the most eggs gets a reward. But somewhere I've hidden a special egg. If you find that, well, you'll have to find out. So before the race starts, everyone is just chatting together. Some people are standing alone. I don't know what you're doing, but you can hear the whistle that asks everyone to be ready for the start. It's not intended to be a very serious event. It's just something to have fun. The air a bit crisp, but the sky blue and the sun out. Ready, set, draw. And just enjoy the feeling of a fall as you start running through the forest. You look around you for all the different colors that the eggs could be, trying to spy with your little eyes something beginning with E. And as you run around the forest, you spot sometimes a color between the leaves, and yes, you find an egg. You run a little further and you find another. You just keep going. Sometimes it takes a while before you find one. Sometimes you see close. Sometimes you see two really close together. But that's all right. Some of the eggs are quite small, and you don't think that they're real eggs. They might be chocolate or something else. No matter if you win or lose, you've won already with so much tasty stuff. But you keep on going. You hear other people around you in the forest, and you try to go where they aren't. You want to find the eggs first. You can only wonder how much effort it has taken to hide all these eggs. Who knows how many hours people have been walking through the forest, just placing an egg here and there, hiding it underneath some bushes, behind some leaves, under the root of a tree. But you keep going. You have almost 10 already. You wonder if you have the most eggs, but that's not the one you really want to find. You don't care if you have the most eggs, you want to find the special egg. Because when you heard me talking about it, you thought, you felt that that special egg was for you. So you go deeper and deeper into the forest. You try not to run too fast and carefully step over branches and roots. Sometimes you follow a path and other times you just walk straight through where you want to. Where you are now, it feels almost as if nobody has been there in a long time. But when you see a bright blue, shimmering color and an egg, you know that you're not the first here, but you're still on the right path. The trees around you look more serious than before. They look older as you go deeper into the woods. Now these woods aren't so big that it's dangerous, so you're allowed to go here. All around are different roads that will all lead you back home if you were to get lost. So you can just run inside here without a single worry or care. It's safe here. The birds are chirping. The sky above you is blue. The soft wind rustles the leaves. And you can hear your own footsteps as the footsteps of others are fading further and further away into the distance, just as your thoughts. It's been a while since you last saw an egg. but it's still a long time before the second whistle will be blown. You want to find the special egg. It's difficult. You do your best to walk a bit slower, to look around you with the greatest care, slowing down as you go deeper and deeper into the woods. It's really okay to relax. Just take your time. This special prize is not for everyone. You have to earn it. Even if you don't know what it is, you know you want it. You want to find the surprise. The leaves sometimes tickle your legs. They brush along you as you walk. Sometimes roots and branches don't want to go out of your way and you have to change your direction. But that's okay. You can still see where the sun is. You still know where you came from and where you're going. In the distance you do hear people, but they're far, far away. The sounds of the forest seem all around you. And in the distance, you hear water. You remember that there's a little creek in the forest, and who knows, maybe the special prize is there. You walk and walk, going deeper and deeper, until you finally reach the creek. The sound of running water is particularly relaxing. And it's really enjoyable to just stay here for a moment to catch your breath. There is still no rush. They gave more than an hour for the search. You don't know exactly how much time you've spent so far. But you're pretty sure it's not an hour, not nearly. You take the time to sit down and think, look around and wonder. You've gone very deep into the woods. You almost recognize this place from a time of hide and seek. But right now, you are the seeker, and your target is hidden somewhere, probably in a very small place. It can be difficult to find those little things. So you take your time to focus, to listen to the sounds, to let yourself go deeper into the forest with your mind, and try to find the surprise without having to walk everywhere. You breathe calmly, matching the rhythm of the creek. You go deeper and deeper and follow all around you the sounds. You try to remember if you've seen any footsteps, if you've seen any trails that would hint at where the surprise is hidden. You have no idea where it is, but you have this feeling that if you open your mind enough, that if you relax enough, you can find it. Time passes slowly. Just relax and open your mind. Let yourself go deeper and deeper into the woods. And suddenly you see a glimmer all the way in the back of your mind. But as soon as you see it, you wake up a little and you lose it. So you have to relax even deeper to find it again. You take a deep breath and do your best. But when you try to go deeper, it's difficult. It's distracting to intentionally go deeper. After a few moments, you automatically relax though. The sound of the creek, the rustling leaves, the light of the sun, and the dry leaves underneath your feet. They all help you to relax, to go deeper and deeper. It's a wonderful feeling to just let yourself unwind and open your mind to the sounds of the forest. There's that glimmer again, but this time rather than getting excited, you just let it be. As you relax further and further again, opening your mind to this little shimmer of hope, this glimmer of surprise, you feel it. You feel where it is. You feel that somewhere not even that far from where you're sitting, there is something hidden. Something hidden between two rocks. You can almost imagine the place. You almost but not quite have it. The excitement got the better of you again, and you need to take a time to go deeper. You focus on the sounds around you, listening to the sound of my voice, and you drop. You relax, and you open your mind once more to that little glimmer of hope, to see the surprise, the playful surprise hidden deep in the forest, deep in your mind. And the more you let go, the more you relax, the easier it becomes to see where it is. The image not too far from here, close to a small bend in the creek, there are two rocks close together, and in between, something seems to shimmer like gold. You feel yourself standing up almost as in a dream, and you follow the creek, with your mind still relaxed and open as you go deeper and deeper into the forest, following the footsteps of your mind until you finally find those two stones together. And when you find those two stones together, you peer between them, and is there the surprise? You hold yourself back. You do not want the magic to be broken. Part of you is so curious that you want to run to it, and the other part is almost afraid that there's nothing there. But then you look and you see the glimmer of gold. You reach in and get it out. It's a clock, a watch. It's a beautiful golden watch. Well, it's probably not real gold, because why would it here? And you realize that on the back there's an etching. On the back there's a beautiful complex etching of Easter, eggs, leaves, spring. This must be the prize. It looks completely clean, and when you hold it to your ear, you can hear the soft ticking. Every second, a few ticks to help you go deeper. Just soft ticks that help you go deeper, and as you stand there just listening to it, you don't even know if this was the surprise that was intended, but it is a beautiful surprise nonetheless. You hold the chain of the watch in your fingertips and let it swing in front of you for a moment. You wonder if your eyes by accident just want to follow it from left to right, right to left, back and forth. But as your arm gets tired, you sort of snap out of it, and in the distance, you hear the whistle. It's time to go back. So you walk back to where everyone is. You hear another whistle and another. And when I count back up, you're going to slowly awaken. But the fantasy will not quite be over. As you make your way closer and closer back to the center, to where you started. 1, 2, slowly waking. 3, 4, more aware. 5, 6, almost there. 7, 8, almost awake. And 9, 10, wake. And when you show me your prize, I tell you that it is not something that I had hidden, but that is a beautiful, playful surprise nonetheless. And I hope you keep it with you. A little bit of golden spring, some time, and a little tick that helps you to relax. Now, thank you for listening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry. Yes, I indeed forgot to turn off the spiral again. Now give me a moment to drink some water, but other than that... yes, we can begin the Q&A. Also, I will answer the first question. Some people wonder why the live events are marked for age restricted or adults only, even though the hypnosis itself is gentle. And that is because the Q&A at the end often contains questions that do go into BDSM or sexual territory. And because those subjects are not suitable for people underage, I do have to mark the live events as age restricted. And I hope you understand. Stacey Odd asks, how was your Easter? Without a question mark. It was fine. Time with family. Fen asks, what was your dinner? I had a shawarma pizza. It is a very delicious pizza. Sourpuff asks, what is your favorite ice cream flavor? Probably lemon. Coffee and Milk asks, how is your Japanese now? It's the same as it was before. Diamond Cupcake asks, what was the surprise supposed to be? Maybe you'll find out someday. Oh, actually, that's a very good question. Philosopher asks, have you gotten a response on the meetups and whether you will proceed with that? Yes, I asked people to give some responses to a possible meetup in Amsterdam that I want to do maybe once per 2 months. And I wanted to see what days and what kind of things people were expecting of me. I will probably start organizing that relatively soon, but I will keep you up to date. York LaRose asks, would you ever consider redoing a file that you weren't fond of or receive suggestion on how it could be improved? Oh, definitely. Just because I've done a subject doesn't mean I consider myself like completely done with the subject. Coffee and Milk asks, would you accept all of these being shipping lemon ice cream. No, please do not ship anything to me without my permission. Devin the Hunter asks, Nimja, do you remember me from the Forget Your Name video? I am sorry, I do not. I get probably over 100 replies on that video alone per day. Grace asks, kun je iets in het Nederlands zeggen? Yes, I can. HP asks, have you played The Sims? I have. I am not that big of a fan of The Sims. Alfred F. Jones asks, what are your thoughts on the Eurovision Song Contest? I don't think it's a good idea if I answer that. I think it's a very interesting contest that has nothing to do with Europe. It's interesting for politics though, but I stay away from politics. Snowflake the Husky asks, is it normal to feel some sort of tingling relaxation in trance? Kind of like ASMR. Yes, actually, that's quite common. Coffee and Milk asks, how often do you stay up late? Not so often, I try to sleep well. Sparkly Ember asks, have you been chasing any wascally wabbits this Easter? That was a very terrible, I'm hunting wabbits. No, I haven't. Van asks, what is the Dutch equivalent to Easter eggs and bunnies? Chocolade, eieren en konijnen. Sebastian Nielsen asks, do you play computer games? Yes, lately I've been playing The Witcher 3. Coffee and Milk asks, Nimja, if you were to go back in time and change something, what would it be? Probably nothing. I know too much about time travel to not want to do it. If Sarapov asks, if you were a teacher, what subject would you teach? Programming, probably. Several people ask, do you play any instruments? I play a bit of piano and a tiny bit of guitar. Very, very little, though. Octavia Hall asks, can you talk in a robotic voice saying, Happy Easter, everyone? Stacey Odd asks, is it hard to hypnotize people? Yes and no. Bogdan the Lurker asked, weird question, but why do you think that although you've got thousands of subscribers, you only get a few thousand views? Because most people download the files, I think, if they listen to them a lot. Rachel asks, have you played Portal or Portal 2? Yes, I've played both of them. I think they're some of the best games ever. Sparkly Ember admits that she totally asked to make me do Elmer Fudd. Grace asks, could you do guitar during a live or for a file? In theory, yes, it's unlikely to happen. Octavia Hall asks, have you ever laughed when you make mistakes or almost fall? Actually, if you do a performance like this or like playing music, the best thing you can do if you make a mistake is either continue or just repeat the last bit. It depends a bit on in what situation you're in. And when you do more performances, it feels more natural to just continue after a mistake. York LaRose asks, most influential comment you have ever gotten? I am not sure. I mean, the most memorable comments is a thread by a guy that was really upset by a video I made. But the way he was upset was absolutely hilarious. Devin the Hunter asks, which ones are better, zombies or ghouls? Probably ghouls. They seem more durable. Lourdes Vital asks, how long have you been doing hypnosis? 19 years. And what made you want to do hypnosis? I got interested because of an article in a science magazine when I was 12, but it took a while before I actually started seriously. Coffee and Milk asks, do you extremely hate spamming in the comment sections? No, it happens, but YouTube picks up most of the spam. Sebastian Nielsen asks, do you have a talent that isn't hypnosis stuff? Yes, I'm decent at gaming. I can write stories, poetry, music. I do programming. I have a few physical skills as well. I guess I have plenty of talents. Thanks to my dad and my mom. Good genes. I'm happy. Sparkly Ember asks, are there any uniquely Dutch Easter traditions? We have a weird bread called Easter bread, and it's like raisin bread, but with a like a filling that is almost, it's based on almonds and sugar. I'm trying to remember what it looks like. Sebastian Nielsen asks, is hypnosis your job? Apparently you haven't listened to any previous lives. I work full-time as a programmer. Sarah asks, when you visit a new city, what would you be the most curious about? Interesting question. I think it depends on the city. Sourpuff asks, are you flexible? Yeah. HB asks, will you do more files about Nimja Inc.? Yes. Devin asks, can you dab for us? I could, but I won't. Yeah! Young Skate Nation asks, do you smoke? No, I do not smoke, and I do not really drink or do drugs either. Ursuspa asks, have you ever visited Sweden? Yes, I have, actually. I've also gone to the largest amusement park in Sweden. Penny Addison asks, do you have a quit smoking or stop addictions video? And if not, would you make one? I don't believe I have one yet. But I will at some point make one. Alfred F. Jones asks, what is the longest you've ever been away from home? It depends a bit on what you consider from home. I've stayed with like people for, I think, 1.5 months once or longer. Philosopher asks, do you work out? To a point. I bicycle a lot. Jezebel asks, so you're getting close to the 2,000 patron goal. When are you going to start planning that US tour? Well, when I get over that goal, I will actually start organizing it. It'll probably be another year by estimate. Coffee and Milk asks, do you prefer healthy foods or junk foods? I prefer a nice balance of both. Fan asks, could you please pose with your hands steepled like an evil mastermind? Stacey Odd asks, can you speak Welsh? No. Bogdan the Lurker asks, could you say, all according to plan? Becca Rose asks, what is your favorite drink? Water. I tend to drink water for most of the time, but other than that, milk and tea. I don't drink coffee. Bogdan asks, what is your favorite flavor of chocolate? Dark. Octavia Hall asks, would you ever want to be in a movie? I don't really care that much either way. Liz Oreos asks again, if you had the ability if you had to give up programming computers for people, which one would you give up? I don't know. Like, I don't think I would want to give up either of them. And it's hard to choose because they both play an important part of my life. Diamond Cupcake asks, could you say something in your snake voice? Michaela asks, what is your favorite flower? Maybe forget-me-nots. HP asks, could you please say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? Yes, I can. Stacy Odd asks, do you drink energy drinks? No. Ugh. Becca Rose asks, horror or comedy films? Of the two, probably comedy. Okay, Snow asks, what is the meaning of life? 42. No, more seriously, to learn and to improve. Fen asks, who would narrate the movie of your life? Stephen Fry, Morgan Freeman, or David Attenborough? Why not myself? People have said that I have a nice voice. And as awesome as all three of those people are, I don't want to waste their time by talking about my life. Alleviation asks, are you planning to take over the world? Well, it's the same thing every night, isn't it? Alleviation asks, what is your favorite hypnosis to do? That actually depends on my mood. Like, if I'm in a naughty mood, then naughty is fun to do. Devin asks, would you rather be really strong but weak in sun, or really fast but slow at night? Well, technically, if you're really fast, as in flash fast, you are also super strong because of physics. Sebastian Nielsen asks, could you try to pronounce, let's see, Mit Name Nimja, which is Swedish for my name is Nimja, or Danish, sorry. It's Nimja in the brain. Octavia Hall asks, have you ever cried in a kids movie? No. Movies generally don't make me cry. Okay, Snow asks, what is your favorite superheroes? Favorite, probably Batman, but I like anti-heroes more than superheroes. Deadpool, Riddick. Coffee and Milk asks, Nimja, can you do epic guitar riffs? No, I'm not Bill and Ted. Hannah asks, have you ever done hypnosis in a public setting? Yes, I have definitely done hypnosis in a public setting. I've even done hypnosis on the street if I was particularly bored and there was a willing participant around. Philosopher asks, and this is the reason why I definitely let this kind of thing be age restricted. So you're a Dom, so do you enjoy BDSM? Yes, I do enjoy BDSM. Rebecca Dash asks, are you really are hypnosis? I think you mean, are you really a hypnotist? And yes. Sparkly Ember asks, what is your favorite, bunny, cat, or puppy girl? I think I'm contractually obliged to say cat, but all of them are awesome. Alleviation asks, do you like musicals? To a point. Like most genres of movies, there's good and bad musicals. Good musicals are awesome. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Fen asks, if I listen to a hypnosis file at twice the speed, will I drop twice as fast? Generally, no. That is an interesting name. Paisontili C asks, was there a specific event that sparked the writing of the Hypnosis and Consent article? Yes. And something from like 8 years ago or something that was retold in a bad way made some people try to like say bad things about me, so I had to put them straight. And I also thought, because some friends helped remind me of mistakes that I've made, that it would be good to talk about it. Ursus Poo asks, do you read books? And if so, what books? Douglas Adams, Terry Pratchett, and Tom Holt are some of my favorite authors. I assume that Rebecca Dash is not native English. Asks, question, are you always being in hypnosis, or have you just been another person who just wants to be a hypnosis person? Rebecca, I work full-time as a programmer. However, I have done hypnosis for many, many years, and I would consider myself professional since I earn money with it, and I try to do it at a high quality. Devin the Hunter asks, Nimja, could you do your best zombie impression, please? Well, see, a hypnotist is very similar to a zombie because all that they want is your brains. Michaela asks, have you thought about any more vampire role thingies? Yes, roleplay thingies, yes. Coffee and Milk asks, Nimja, are you pretty much a loner? In a way. I mean, I like having the right people around me, but I don't like having a lot of people around me. Fabio Bauer asks, where are you from? I am from the Netherlands. HB asks, have you seen the videos called Animator versus Animation? If you mean the really old stick figure-like animation that actually is recorded in Flash, yes. Fabio Bauer asks, what are you coding? PHP and Python. Coffee and Milk asks, Nimja, why do you like dark chocolates? Because normal chocolate is a bit too sugary and dark chocolate has a deeper flavor. I do have a limit though, like 90% of like 90% strong dark chocolate is too strong. And PHP and Python are programming languages. Oh. So. There we go. Fan asks, you have to save the princess using PHP. What do you do? Well, obviously, if princess is unsaved, set princess arrow saved to true. Diamond Cupcake asks, what is the first game you've ever played? That is a very difficult one, actually. I've played the original NES with Mario 3 because Duck Hunt was sold out at the time. And I've played very old computer games, including like snakes and gorillas in QBasic. Payson asks, do you ever get annoyed being mixed in with the horrible file creators crowd? Well, see, as a nice guy on the internet, I've had my share of being grouped with a crowd of horrible people that just wants to send dick pics to everyone. So it's part of life. If you make something of good quality, you have to accept that most people don't. And I highly respect people that take the effort to do make good quality, which is awesome. Because, like, taking the time to make high quality stuff means that you care about what you make. Miriam Nicholson asks, if you had to live your entire life as a snake, would you try to hypnotize people like Ka? If I had my current mind in a snake body, I would probably be a terribly naughty snake. Alleviation asks, are you planning on doing hypnosis in Dutch? Only in person. I am not going to do the effort to make Dutch files because there's not a large enough audience. I'm sorry. Hannah asks, advice on vetting potential online hypnosis partners. Well, I made a file recently called Safety Guidelines. They continue decent guidelines of dealing both with in-person and online and file hypnosis. By the way, with nice guy, I don't mean that I'm not naughty, I mean that I'm respectful to the people around me. In the BDSM world, being respectful is sometimes seen as a weakness, which I find quite entertaining. Doesn't it require more self-control to be respectful to people? Ursus Poo asks, do you like licorice? I like Dutch licorice. Interestingly, I've also had Swedish licorice, which tends to be too salty for my taste. And I've had licorice from the UK, which tends to be crap. Coffee and Milk asks, how do you feel about ASMRs? They exist. They make people happy. Payson asks, has an erotic or kinky file ever caused trouble with YouTube? Actually, yes, that's partly the reason why I'm hosting my own files now. I used to have only files on YouTube, but that caused problems. Cyphelon Mike asks, what is your thought on ultra hypnosis? I think he makes okay stuff. I haven't listened to much because I am not really into other hypnotists. Sourpuff asks, what notebook do you write in, and can we see your handwriting? I am writing on like little paper notes, like this, and nope. Alleviation asks, what are your fetishes? Many. Autumn Heart asks, do you think you'll ever get a silver play button? Statistically, it is likely that I will get one. Maybe I will reach 100k this year if things stay the same course. However, I've heard that it can take a while before you actually get one. Devin asks, my phone is dying. Do I have to leave? I don't think that's up to me. Alfred F. Jones asks, what do you think influences a person more, nature or nurture? I think nurture influences a person more, but nature decides how much a person can be influenced. And about my handwriting, it's actually not super neat. It is fast and semi-efficient because if I need to make notes during meetings, for example, they have to be readable later, but they don't have to be nice. Bogdan the Lurker asks, can you say, "You've activated my trap card"? That's probably the manliest version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever. Coffee and Milk asks, have you ever played Doki Doki Literature Club? No, I know about it though. Alfred F. Jones asks, when you make notes, do you write them in English or Dutch? Almost always in English. Miriam Nicholson asks, if you had to spend your life as another person, who would it be? John Malkovich. I'm joking, but I have no idea. I've never given that any thought. HP asks, how's the weather in Amsterdam? Wet and full of airplanes, apparently. Cyphelomike Fangirl asks, are you planning to take over the Netherlands first before you take over the world? No, I am trying to install agents everywhere in the world so that I can slowly take over every naughtiness. Michaela asks, if you were to ask us a question, what would it be? That was asked the previous live as well. Coffee and Milk asks, do the airplane noises annoy you? They do when they interfere with recording. Sven asks, if you had your way, which planet would you conquer first after Earth? Probably Mars, but we'd have to leave our solar system as well at some point. Penny Addison asks, why do you keep skipping my questions? I'm not doing that intentionally, it just depends on how much I can read in one screen. Sparkly Amber asks, if you have a subject you know already has existing triggers from another hypnotist, do you utilize those or do you prefer to stick to your own triggers? I tend to not use triggers from another hypnotist, and part of the fun is to get to know someone by trancing. Autumn Heart asks, how many good hypnotists are there online? I have no idea. Coffee and Milk asks, what kind of superpowers would you like to have? Intentional telekinesis. Lillian asks, are you planning to make more tickling files? I only have one with a live, I think, but I will make more. Diamond Cupcake asked, how do you know that you have people under your control? Well, they subscribe. Also, I get emails and comments and other things. Stacey Odd asked, do you remember if you started speaking in Dutch or English first as a child? Dutch. I grew up here in the Netherlands as a Dutch person. I've just always liked English. Lily Mattel asks, do you pour milk or cereal first? Cereal. Fen asks, but how much can you read on 2 screens? Dun, dun, dun. Philosopher asks, your recordings are so good. Do you do them all in a single sitting or do you have to start over? Actually, today is a good example because I made one mistake, one that I will cut out for the recording. Ursus Per asks, what phone do you have? I have a Nexus phone and I will probably get a Pixel. Sebastian asks, if you could be a Marvel superhero, which one would you like to be? I believe... I'm always doubting if X-Men is... Yeah, X-Men is Marvel. But then I'd probably be Gambit. Python asked, what is the craziest live mistake? I think one of the first lives I made a mistake with the stream and we had to start over. And I've had problems with my mic once. Of course, I'd be Gambit, Chérie. Clever Nickname asks, why is Iceland green and Greenland covered in ice? Because people who name places are usually not the people who live there. Coffee and Milk asks, what kind of voice do you like to play as? I am not really sure what you're asking. Diamond Cupcake asks, do you put your socks first on and then your shoes, or one sock, one shoe? First socks and shoes way later. Penny Addison asks, feelings or opinions on Disney? Disney has made a lot of really awesome movies, and some of them are very good. It's just a shame that as a company, they're not that positive. Sourpuff asks, how many holes are in a straw? One, it's just a cylinder. Kaza asks, would you ever consider recording in a studio instead of at home? Well, yes and no. Doing it at home is kind of convenient, and it's nice that I don't have to go anywhere when I record. Alleviation asks, why does hypnosis work? Because it is a natural part of how the brain functions. Terezi asks, have you seen many Ghibli movies? You mean Studio Ghibli? And which is the best? Difficult. I mean, I really liked Howl's Moving Castle. I liked Princess Mononoke. I also liked Spirited Away and quite a lot of others. It's been a while since I saw a Studio Ghibli movie. Avery asks, what is your favorite kind of cookie? Stroopwafel. Michaela asks, do you take your shoes off at the door or wear them around the house? I take them off at the door. Payson asks, how is getting over the fact that there's more exceptions than rules in English? Oh, English is way more structured than Dutch is. It has way less exceptions. Coffee and Milk asks, have you seen Ready Player One yet? No, but I will. The TGU asks, when I watch the files, the suggestions aren't very strong. Any ideas? There are some suggestions on hypno.nimja.com/help. Octavia Hall asks, can you close your eyes for 5 seconds? I could, but then I would be missing a lot of lines. Coffee and Milk asks, can you make an evil smirk for the fans? Ursus asks, what came first, the chicken or the egg? There is scientific consensus about it. Alleviation asks, do we learn something about your fetishes in your audios? To a large degree, yes. Mike Fangirl asks, is it true that Dutch is a language between English and German? No, that would be horribly incorrect. English is an amalgamation of Germanic and Latin languages. If I remember correctly, German and Dutch have the same root. They were once one language. Diamond Cupcake asks, have you ever broken a chair? Of course. I've lived long enough to have a chair break beneath me. Ioperty asks, can you put the mic aside from your face like you did once in a live? I could, but the problem is if I place it here, then it also messes with the backgrounds. So I keep it here for now. Bogdan the Lurker asks, what is the strangest game you've played? Strangest. I think it's called The Path. It is a game where you play as Little Red Riding Hood, but you play as like one of 5 sisters of different ages. It's very strange. Fen asks what word sounds really angry in Dutch but is really innocuous. I can't think of anyone right off the top of my head. I mean, I like the German word Kugelschreiber, which just means ballpoint pen. Pison asks, if a subject asked you to just destroy their mind and life, would you even with complete consent? Well, that question is actually very difficult, but I have had that question before. See, the thing is, people who have asked me that question usually are nowhere near informed consent. So the answer to that is generally no. But like destroying someone's life, I don't think I ever would. I would maybe change someone's life if they can provide me with a really valid and well-supported reason to do so. Stacey Odd asks, what is the worst film you've ever watched? Clowns from Outer Space. Teresi asks, low poly or pseudo-realistic art style, which is better? That question is like not accurate because the art style, the look of a game is not the same as the technology that they use. So anything can look good as long as it's consistent. For example, low poly in Superhot works extremely well. Philosopher asks, is it true that drop is licorice in Dutch? Yes, but it's pronounced differently. Kaza asks the very interesting question, do you think studying hypnosis would make someone a better subject, or would it cause them to overanalyze the experience and ruin it? This depends on the person. Some people do become a better subject with it, while other people do tend to overanalyze, but this is really personal. It's a good question though, and it's very difficult to predict. Penny Addison asks, what would you say to someone who got into BDSM through an underage and mean relationship but now enjoys it? See, the problem is having a fetish for certain things can be discovered in a nasty way, like pain or abuse or humiliation or degradation. But these things aren't bad by themselves. Someone calling you names is not a problem if it happens with consent. So if consent happens now and you feel that it is happening in a proper way, then that is fine. Autumn Heart asks, do you think sexual repression plays a role in kink preferences later in life? I think that's very personal. Cyflo Mike Fangirl asks, how did you feel when you heard Stephen Hawking died? Aw. Diamond Cupcake asks, would you ever do an introduction without speaking? I am sorry, my sign speaking is not good enough for that. Coffee and Milk asks, do you drink wine? I don't drink much alcohol at all. I maybe have 1 glass of alcohol per year or something. Diamond Cupcake asks, have you ever just wanted to stop doing hypnosis? No. It is part of my fetishes. I don't always feel like talking to everyone online, but I have never wanted to stop doing hypnosis altogether. Abby Stewart asks, do you think everyone can be hypnotized? Well, everyone, no. About 99 or more % of people, yes. Fen asks, if you could only do 3 exercises for the rest of your life, what would they be? Bicycling, swimming, and sex. I think then I've covered all the necessary muscle groups for a good life. Alfred F. Joan asks, what is the appeal of being a dom in a daddy-dom little girl relationship? Being a caretaker. Cyflo Mike Fangirl asks, what does a regular day in your life look like? I'll let you know when I find a regular day. Coffee and Milk asks, do you like Nutella? Very interesting question, but no, actually. And Fen, if you don't think that sex is an exercise, it is. You burn a lot of calories doing it. Abby Stewart asks, have you ever been hypnotized? To a degree. Cyflo Mike Fangirl asks, are you allergic to anything? Yes and no. That's a complicated question. Philosopher asks, if you gave you permission to drop me at any time given time in advance, would you drop me if you met me in person? If we had other discussions about limits and desires and stuff, then possibly yes. It can be a lot of fun to drop someone in public. Stacey Alt asks, how long have we got left? We have about 12 minutes left. Paulov asks, do you ever have something like artist or writer's block but in making hypnosis files? Not in making the file, but more in like choosing a subject. Once I have a subject, it's no problem. Lourdes asks, how far into hypnosis would you know what kind of subject you have before you begin? If you're doing hypnosis without talking to the person first, you're doing something wrong. Ursa Spoo asks, have you ever gotten a tattoo? No, I do not have any tattoos. Fan asks, do you think Valve will ever learn to count to 3? I think we'll find out with Portal. Coffee and Milk asks, Nimja, are you sleepy yet? Sort of. I mean, I still have a lot of adrenaline. Python asks, what hypnosis file or subject were you unsure of making but did anyway? I'd have to look at my list. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But there are like 1 or 2 files where I wasn't sure if I should. There are files that I won't do. Things like politics, religion, or extremism, I will stay away from. Bogdan the Lurker asks, what is your weapon of choice? That should be obvious. Autumn Heart asks, what has been your favorite April Fool's joke today? Find Waldo. Or where's Waldo? Or where's Wally in the UK? Octavia Hall asks, what is the coolest thing you've ever done? Switzerland. High in the mountains. Stacey Odd asks, what would you do if you found out someone was listening to this under the age? I would hide them from this channel because they're not allowed. Bogdan the Lurker asks, if a woodchuck can chuck wood, why call a woodchuck a woodchuck? Because people want to ask how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Philosopher asks, is there a specific way to avoid subdrop once the endorphins wear off after scening? If someone finds a way, I think the whole BDSM world will know. Mostly it's a matter of caregiving and building down slowly. Sparkly Amber asks, when are you going to do a choking file? I'm waiting with bated breath. Yes, you would be. And I don't know. Fen asks, do you like being hugged from behind, or would you rather be the one hugging someone from behind? Considering how tall I am, it feels a bit weird to be hugged from behind. Sebastian Nielsen asks, how old do you have to be? You have to be an adult in your region. That means 18 plus or 21 plus in most of the world, I think. I'm only good at tongue twisters that I've heard before, like Moses supposes histosis androsis, but Moses supposes erroneously. Moses he gnosis histosis androsis, but Moses supposes histosis to be. It is a tongue twister from Singing in the Rain. Python asks, do you ever get nervous with a highly suggestible subject or concerned that something said may be taken out of context? Yes, sometimes, which is why I try to talk about things in advance. Ooh, that one girl Brie asks, if you could know everything about one thing, what would you like to know? It's a very difficult question because what is the limit of one thing? For example, if I knew everything about hypnosis, I would also have to know everything about the human mind because I would have to know exactly how hypnosis works in the human mind. Pi asks, why 21? Why not 18? It depends on your region. Not like most regions are 18, but some countries see 21 as the adult limit. And I mean the age of, I don't mean the age of consent. It's defined differently on YouTube as far as I know. But age of consent will do. Teresa asks, when did you first know you were kinky? I don't know exactly when I first knew that I was kinky. I mean, I've had an affinity for different things, and I found out later that those things were kinky. So it's hard to define an exact moment. And as far as I've known, this happens quite a bit. Like, for example, you find out that you're interested in ropes or interested in knots, and then later you find out that you're into bondage. Omar asks, what inspired you to do hypnosis? Well, an article and just stuff. Sparkly Ember asks, anything fun planned this month? Yeah, one or two things. Bogdan the Lurker asks, what would you call someone who isn't really sub and isn't really a dom? Either you just call them a person, or maybe a switch. Philosopher asks, can I tattoo your metronome symbol on my body? You've greatly affected my life. I won't stop you, but I wonder if it's a good idea. Like, if you want to make a tattoo on your body, make sure that you choose something that has a deep meaning to you specifically. Autumn Heart asks, tips for playing with wax? I'm not going to go into all the details, but make sure to choose simple candles, non-colored ones, and drop from higher off. But it's very important to find tutorials on Google for this. Payson asks, do you think switches have the upper hand in that they understand both the hypnotist and the subject side? Not necessarily. Stacey Odd asks, how long will it take to go... Oh. How long will it take to go into a deeper trance for an average person? Well, this depends on how the trance is happening, or like if it's in person or online, or the type of trance. Penny Addison asks, do you enjoy humiliating a sub in public as much as possible? Are you asking to find out? Cyphlo Mike Fangirl asks, your favorite nerdy activity? Well, not only have I played Dungeons and Dragons or other tabletop role-playing games, I have made stories for them. And I think as nerdy activities go, that is probably the nerdiest stuff I've done that I'm fairly proud of. Bogdan asks, before the stream ends, could you please say Happy Easter Fools? Omar asks, are you nervous? No, not really. Sarabov asks, will you make more denial files? No. Of course I will. And last questions. Fan asks, what did you wear to your job interview to your current job? Smart casual, nice clean dress shirt, and nice pants. I'm a programmer. I don't have to suit up. Cyphlomike Fangirl asks, what is your opinion on genetics? It is an extremely valuable field of science. All right, hugs for everyone. And all right. Then, considering there's no other big questions anymore that I can answer easily, let's end this Nimja Live. I hope you've all had a lot of fun, and I again want to thank all my patrons and donators for their continued and amazing support. For those that aren't aware, voting for the Nimja Live Light will begin on Patreon for the silver and gold patrons shortly after the live. And we'll see you again next month. And as always, this was Nimja Live. Wake.